really big into the Switch. I see you're really deep into the indie games and stuff like that. So, what games are you currently playing on the Switch?
Yeah. So the few that came out recently that I've been playing is Blue Fire, Cathedral. I gravitate towards like platforming kind of games. So there's a few that I picked up physically. So there's a publisher in Europe called Pixel Heart. They brought over Tanuki Justice, which is like a 8-bit platformer. There's Golden Force, which is another side-scrolling type game. But I try and I try and see like what's out there, and I go through the eShop pretty frequently. I kind of see what's coming out. I mentioned before the Lonely Mountains Downhill, which I've really enjoyed because it's just like it's stressful downhill biking, but at the same time it's meditative almost because you're trying to like go around the bends. There's no music, so you just kind of hear nature, and it's just addicting and fun. And then there's one game that I got to play at PAX last year that has been one of my favorite indie games. It's called Wonderling. So it's a side-scrolling platformer puzzle where you play as the minion in the evil bad guy army. And as you're progressing through the game, there's unlockables or secret areas, but you unlock new power-ups. So you start the game only being able to go right, then you go left, and when they hit the wall, they go the other way, so you can't stop them. Then you learn how to jump, double jump, speed, like speed up your boost and things like that. And to me, it's just a phenomenal game. It's probably one of my favorite indie games. It's no secret that I want to bring that one physically, so I'm hoping one day I get to. But I always talk about Wonderling. Like I love that game, and I just think it's fantastic. But yeah, like recently, I just sadly don't have that much time to play. So I guess more of the AAA was the Astral Chain that I was talking about that I was playing. I recently went back to Final Fantasy IX. Well, I went to it for the first time because I never beat it back on the PS1. And I was like, you know what? I just have this hankering to play an RPG. And I got the Final Fantasy IX Asia English, physical import. I'm like, I'm just going to play it. So I played it. I loved it. It was fun. And now I can say that I finally can check that one off my bucket list of Final Fantasy games. But yeah, there's just so many games. That's the problem. There's just so many coming out that I want to enjoy them all, and I just have to like my time is so limited that it's like I feel like I only get to play a little bit of each game and not really get to just sit down and go through one to completion. But I definitely love puzzle games. Like I like puzzle games. I like pick up and play games. That's why I like Rocket League because you can play 5 minutes and you're done. But that's kind of like where I am right now with family and work and all that stuff.
Did you play any games competitively at all, or was it just mostly at home?
No. Well, yes. So when I started Rocket League is really the only one I've ever done online. I've never been an online player, so I haven't done Fortnite, Call of Duty. If people still play that, I don't even know. That's how old I am. But but Rocket League, I started off playing against the computer. Then when I got good enough that I could beat the computer, I had a friend that played it a lot, when it was on the other console. So I would play against him every night for like an hour or two, and he would like help teach me how to play. So we'd be playing, he put the ball in a certain position so I can kind of learn how to maneuver. And then we started playing a lot, and then I just loved the game that I finally went to like the non-ranked matches online just to play around. And I started realizing like, oh, I'm winning some of them, losing most of them, but I'm enjoying this. And then I finally went to ranked, and even though I was only like level 2 silver, I think at best, I loved it. Like I just got so addicted to it where I was just like, it'd be 1 in the morning. I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I only need 5 minutes to play. So I'd like log in, hopefully jump into a match. And it was just great because when you win, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm winning against a real person. And that was just fun because it's just you just really get into it. And yeah, I only stopped playing Rocket League because I ended up just being busy, I think, with once the company started and stuff like that. But for a good long time, the most hours I have on a Switch game is in Rocket League. It's like 300 plus hours, and I just loved it. Now I'm thinking like I just want to go after this just downstairs and grab it again and start it up. But it is one of the few games I ever bought digitally after the physical release because I was playing it so much and I was popping in the cartridge and then switching it for the other game I was playing. I'm like, I just need to have it, on my Switch at all times. So I bought it digitally, and I'm just like, I've never double dipped before. And I kind of went in reverse because people normally do digital first and then physical. And I'm like, nah, I got to go the other way.
I haven't really gone into Rocket League all that much. What's the whole game dynamic about and everything?
Yeah, there's so many different modes to it, and I've only ever played the traditional where you have the car, you have the ball, and you just try and score. I haven't tried like their soccer or basketball version, and I don't even know if those are more of the competitive ones or those are just like fun, like different styles. But I so growing up, I played tennis, and I always liked individual sports. Even though I was on a team, I like to play, just on my own. So I didn't play doubles, I played singles. And that's the same way I am with Rocket League. I think you can go up to 3 or 4 cars on a team, and I only ever play solo. For some reason, I just really don't like playing with other people. I don't play well with others, so I just I always did single. And to me, I don't know what it is. It's just fun. I don't know what it is about just taking a car and driving really fast, and you can just go ram into the other car and explode them so they're gone for like 5 seconds and they got the open goal. And I don't know, like the stadiums are just like so vibrant that like even though it's not real people watching, when you get into like one of the stadiums that looks like the professional like championships and you see like the fake people in the stands or whatever, it feels like you're there. And it's just, you're this tiny car, so the stadium is so huge and you're just going so fast that it's just, I don't know, it's a really fun game. And like, I'm not even good at it. Like, I watch videos, like, I started watching videos of like, like the professional leagues, the E leagues, and I see people maneuvering the car in the air, holding the ball like on the underside of the car and like driving it into the net. And I'm lucky if I can shoot myself into the air. Like, that's how bad I am. But it's so much fun. And I remember like after the first like 200 hours of the game, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start learning tricks. I'm going to try and like, bounce up or like jump off the wall and kind of like maneuver. And like 1 out of 20 times I could do it like pretty well. So I mainly am like a ground player. So like if anything goes in the air and I see like the other guy like coming up, I'm like, they can just have it. I'm not going to be able to stop them. But I don't know. It's just like, it's very like it's a very welcoming game. Like if you start with like the PC, like the PC characters, like the computer characters, and not actual against like the crazy professionals that play this game 24 hours a day, it's a lot of fun. And it's just like it really gets you like pumping. Like I don't know what it is. It's just like the adrenaline of just like trying to score. That whole game just works. And I mean, it seems to still be doing well. I'm sad that I just haven't had time for it. So like every couple months now, I'll jump in and play a few. But yeah, it's always been such just a fun game. And on the Switch, on the handheld, it's just been perfect.
So do you play your Switch more handheld than dock mode, or?
Oh yeah, like I don't even know I think I may have tried dock when it first came out. Like I plugged it into the TV that day to show everybody, and then I gravitated towards handheld. I don't know if it was just easier because I have kids, so they go to bed and I'm upstairs and our main TV is like in the living room, so I don't have multiple docks, so I would just take it out and play it. But then like in the evening, like my wife would be watching something and I want to play something, so I'm just on the couch, and handheld just became very convenient. Back when we could travel, I traveled for work a little bit, so going on the plane, being in the hotel, just traveling or whatever, like I just got used to handheld. And I remember playing all of Zelda. So Breath of Wild, I think I played 97% handheld, and to me it looked beautiful. And then I put it on the TV. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I still can't fathom how it looks so huge on a handheld. Like the whole world never looks small on a handheld, but then you put it on TV, you're like, oh damn, like I didn't realize it could look even better. And I did the same thing with Odyssey. I played like I really play every game handheld. Like but I have the full version Switch. I have a Lite that I've never taken out of the box because I bought the Pokemon one when it came out. But yeah, I like the ability to be able to switch. And now with my son who's getting into gaming, we'll put it onto the TV so we could both play. But when it's just me, I'm like predominantly just handheld. Like I find it so convenient, and yeah, I'm just so used to it. So it's just funny when people say like, oh, the graphics look okay or they look better on the TV. I go, I only know handheld and they look perfect for me. So yeah. How about you?
My handheld broke. It doesn't want to
Oh.
connect the controllers anymore because I literally took it everywhere I went. And so now it's perma docked, and now I have a Switch Lite that I take everywhere that I
Yep.
can take it. So
When the Switch came out, it's funny. I always tell people when the presentation came out in January, that first time that they showed off the Switch, they showed 1-2 Switch. I was just getting back into gaming because I was big into retro gaming for a while. Then I went, and then when the Switch came, I started kind of shifting a little. But I missed like the whole Wii U era. I missed really like most of the PS4. I came into it late. And when the Switch came out, I was like, okay, like I'll watch the presentation. I watched it with my friend. He's on the phone with me. And we're just like talking about it. And, we even said the same thing. We're like, it looks cool. Like, is it going to be gimmicky? Is it going to work? Like, you could feel like the 1-2 switch, you could feel like the ice cubes and stuff like that. And you could plug it in and out. Like, is that more of a gimmick? And then maybe like the week it came out, I didn't even buy all 4 or 5 of the games. I bought Zelda. I bought 1-2 Switch. And then something inside me was like, you know what? There's only a few games at launch. This could be like the Wii U where there's like 200 games and that's it for the whole system. So I'm like, why don't I try and go for a full set? And I got those first few games. And then next week, like another few games came out. And then before I knew it, my entire downstairs is just red spines everywhere. And now I know all about international games that I never knew about before. But it's weird when I think about starting and I'm like, I never set out to be a full set collector for the Switch. And I never really was a full set for any console before that. PSP was my closest. And then when I was into retro gaming, GameCube and the original Xbox, I ended up having like 200 games for each of them before I had like dissolved that collection. But the Switch, for me, I like packaging. It's weird. Like, I think I love the PSP because of the small cases. I like the different disc styles. And with the Switch, I like the small cases. I like the little cartridges. I thought it was cool packaging. And I'm like, this could be fun to collect for. And little did I know that this would be one of their most popular systems. And they keep making more and more games every single week. And I'm just so far down the rabbit hole where I'm like, well, I'm 4 years in. I'm not quitting now after all this. But I never thought it would be like this. I honestly thought it was going to be like the Wii U. I'd have 200 games. It'd be a nice little collection. I'd call it a day, move on. And now it's just taken over my entire life. Like with the company, the book, my website. I started writing for websites when I first started getting into the Switch. Then I started my own website. And I just never envisioned any of this when they had that presentation. And that's just like the weird thing.
So how many games do you have in your Switch collection?
Yeah, it's sad. And I don't say this to be funny, but I really stopped counting. Like, I used to keep a spreadsheet. And to me, it became easier of which games I didn't have than I did. Because there'd be times where I'll be like, I'll wait for a sale. Like, if it's Ubisoft, it's going to go like 50% off in like 3 months. So some games I wouldn't buy day one. But now I'm just back at the point where I am a day one buyer. So everything that comes out that supports English, I get. I mean, I have to believe I have over like 1,000 plus at this point. And that's a mix of like variant covers, different regions, like region exclusive games, the US ones, some collector editions. But I mean, it's got to be up there, but I stopped counting. I stopped keeping track because it just got to be too much. And now it's crazy where it's just like, yeah, I make my weekly release post to help the community, but it's really to help me make sure I don't miss anything. Because I go through like 14 websites every week, multiple times a day to make sure I don't miss anything. And then as I'm making the list, I'll just go to Best Buy or Amazon and be like, okay, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. And then the games will come in and I want to play them all. I just don't. So they just, get alphabetically shelved on the shelf. And then hopefully I get back to it one day. But it's a lot of games. That I normally would be downstairs and you'd see like the wall. But I get such bad reception that I was like, okay, I got to move upstairs today. So you have a giraffe behind me instead. But I'll have to share a picture. I posted it a few times of like my wall of like the regular cases. So it's like these 2 Best Buy Media Atlantic shelves that I want to say maybe hold like 40 games across, and there's like 7 or 8 shelves, maybe more, but it's just like a wall of red. And then I have all these Let's Sings with microphones down the middle, which that to me was like the gateway drug of games, was like the variants for Let's Sing. Because I also never sought out to be a variant collector for the Switch. And then Let's Sing 2018 or 2017, I forget which one, came out. And there was a UK one with like 30 UK songs. Then there was a French one with those songs plus French exclusive songs. Then Spain, then Germany. And every year they did these 4. So every year I started buying them, and then everyone got to know me for Let's Sing with these microphone bundles and different variants. And this past year there was an Asia one with Asia songs on it now. And then like that just like propelled me into all these variants. So I have like RBI baseball every year, but this year they've had a US and a Canadian player on the cover. So I was buying those. Rocket League has had like multiple versions. I bought those, and then every time something comes out, I just look to see if there's a variant, and it sucked me in. I hate it, but yeah. I'm not even like a big box collector for everything, so I won't. So if a game has like a deluxe edition, I won't necessarily buy that and the regular. I consider myself like a cover variant collector. So if the cover is going to be different on the actual case, that's when I'll buy it again. So if they have like a second printing with different artwork, if they have something different on the back of it, I'll do that. And I think they must know who I am at this point because they keep doing more of them, and they know I'm going to buy them. But no, it's fun to collect, and I enjoy it. Like I wouldn't do this if I didn't really enjoy it. But it's just it's a lot, and it's year 4 and they're not slowing down. And then I'm adding more games now with our company, so I'm not helping my own problem. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot of games. Do you have any like favorites that you have in your collection?
Yeah. So Rocket League is one. Naturally, I love that one. I love Super Mario Odyssey, and I think I love it more now that my son, who's 5, has played it with me and we beat it, because I think I just appreciate it even more. The Zelda Breath of the Wild was one of the few Zelda games that I've actually played. Sorry, I haven't played all of them, but Breath of the Wild I absolutely love. Had like 120 hours into it, and I thought it was a fantastic game. Rayman Definitive, I think it was Legends that came out. Rayman Legends. They put it onto the Switch. I thought that was a perfect platformer type of game. And then Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition they had brought over. I really liked it. So it's weird. Like I like a lot of games that may have been on other consoles, but I never played them on the other consoles. So when they come to the Switch, it's the first time for me. So to me, it's just I've been really enjoying them. And then I'll have to say my 2 games, obviously, Super Blood Hockey, Pigeon Dev, absolutely love, great games. But yeah, it's just I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's like I know all the games I play that I really love, and I just draw a blank. I'm like, I just want to go downstairs and just be like, okay, that one that I have, facing forward that you can see, and I'm just drawing blanks right now. But yeah, it's I will say Astral Chain has become one of my favorites. I'm a few hours into that, and I slept on it when it first came out. I had no intention of playing it ever, and then for our Playcast podcast series, we try and play one game per episode, or we have one big game that we'll talk about over a few episodes. So they finally got me to open up Astral Chain. I've been loving that. I recently beat Immortals Phoenix Rising, and I thought that's probably one of the best games I played in 2020. I thought it was just phenomenal. On the Switch, it played, for me, perfectly. I was very happy with it. And then some indie games that I played recently that I really liked. There's one called Forgotten Anne. There's a game called Grease, Gris, that I really liked, very artistic. Yeah, so I look a lot to like other physical publishers when they're putting out games. I tend to enjoy those ones because I know that they also pick really fun indie games, maybe smaller games that you may not know about. And then the last game I will say that's probably one of my favorite. It's called Yoku's Island Express. Okay, good. I promise you I love this game. I could not remember it, but it's Yoku's Island Express, and it's phenomenal. To me, like I don't talk about hidden gems a lot because I don't view myself as someone that should comment on what's considered like a gem. That game is a gem. Like I always recommend it to people because there's something about it that was just very pleasing. It was just very enjoyable. It's just such a fun game, and I really like the unique style of it. So when I talk about indie games, Yoku's Island Express is one of them. Wonderling is the second one.
Thank you, gamers, for joining us for this conversation. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe so you can see more of this interview and others like it. Have a good one, you guys.